Our problem is the distribution of that riches is what's gone haywire.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't address that as a society, we're going to be in big trouble. And this is where I get relevant for food banks.
Yeah.
Food banks gather more people who are in very different economic circumstances than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we have massive numbers of people who are struggling that we work with. And we have really large numbers of people who are doing well who come to volunteer with us and engage with us.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, as I see it, is those people are separate.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we need to be doing, just thinking long term, is how do we bring these population flows together? Because if you look at the biggest difference in our society over the last 20 years is how much more isolated we have become, how much more siloed. And we all thought years ago that the internet was going to bring us all together,
right?
And it has done the exact opposite.
A lot of buddy heads on there. Yeah.
It's like everybody's in their little sound bubble,
Yeah.
where they just echo chamber where they hear this stuff. And it's like, food banks are in a really neat position to try and fight this. And so I think that we need to kind of adopt kind of a third track.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't give up doing the other two lines of work. We're still going to serve people who are hungry. We are still going to try and help people better their lives who are food insecure or struggling. But ultimately, we have got to change the political landscape of our country, and that doesn't mean because everybody adopts my position or your position or whatever. But it's getting people together to stop the divisiveness so that we can actually come to an agreement on what we do with our increasing riches as a society.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, there's a wee bit to unpack in there.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. So years ago, we did our second strategic plan, and I interviewed about 5 or 6 food bank leaders, one of which was a good friend of ours, Matt Haybash, at Mid-Ohio Food Collective. And at the end of the interview, we did it with our board and stuff. At the end of the interview, one of our board members asked, "So Matt, what are you worrying about?" This is probably 8 years ago. Matt goes, "Artificial intelligence." We're all like, "What?" "Why are you worried about artificial intelligence?" He said, "I live in Columbus, Ohio. A significant portion of the jobs in Columbus, Ohio can be replaced by AI. That means those people are likely to end up in my care." I share that story for this reason, which is kind of what you're talking about, which is the way in which we have to think about our work. Right? So going back to the John Van Hengel model, noble work done by people who were basically pushing as hard as they could, shouldering in, right? Versus, let's just all have a collective will, versus today, the sophistication level necessary for us to deal with a problem of this size and scope is significant. Who we are as a network has changed dramatically. So here's the question I'd like to ask. As you think about the next iteration of food relief, of food banks, or we would refer to ourselves now as a community-based organization who happens to have a big food bank inside this building, how do you see the next iteration of the evolution of our work?